Hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. It's the Chelsea 3, Leeds United 2 FA Cup 5th round match review with myself, Stephen Brown, and also Jason Booker. If you're watching along, please smash a like on the video, get your comments in what you thought of that one. Jason, very close to being a cup shock. Fantastic performance from Leeds United for me. Lots of big changes made to the team, but we can certainly be very, very proud of that performance, can't we?
Yeah, I think if we're going to go out of the cup and lose the tie, we lost in the perfect way tonight. In that, we gave them some real scares, and we went in front. We then equalised, came back into the game. We dominated large parts of the game, especially second half. We really showed ourselves to be a match then. They've got problems with Chelsea, but they've still got bags of quality. And all three goals, really, they showed elements of quality that we don't see week in, week out in the Championship, obviously, and that we just don't have. And for me, I know we were just kind of giving us musings about it before coming on, but it was definitely the perfect way to lose, given everything that we showed, and it meant that we didn't have to have extra time. I think it's a lesser of the evils that the game was finished within 90 minutes. I know it's a bit of a defeatist way of looking at it, but I wouldn't have liked to have to see Cree go through, another 30 minutes. Rodon, Ampadu, Archie, some of these boys that have put in a lot. Because the facts are Saturday is far more important. I feel very like in the run up to the game, I was very like it's bittersweet because we've got so much riding on the league, but we've also got the opportunity to go to a quarterfinal FA Cup against Leicester as well, which would have been really interesting. Given there definitely would have then been a Championship team in the semis. So, but Chelsea are a fantastic team in terms of the set of players that they've got out there on the pitch. They've not got it together yet, but some of the football that they played, especially in the goals, I thought were they were fantastic. I can't remember if it was the second. No, it was the first goal. The build-up play in the play to the first, the way that they knocked it about and moved us around and opened spaces, and then boom, 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 3 passes and they were in. It's real quality that we just don't have. The turn that Conor Gallagher put on for the third goal, and Enzo Fernandez is probably the only player on the pitch that could find that pass. And then Conor Gallagher takes it on the half turn, spins and finishes it all in one motion. We just don't have them kind of players. But there was so much to love tonight, given the fact that as best players were arguably not even on the pitch. We had several changes in the team. The emergence of Matteo coming in and playing as well that he did. We'll get on to Boy Wonder as well. What a performance from him. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, he played him off the pitch. He'll be making Enzo Fernandez and the other Caicedo in there think, Jesus, we need to level up to this, because Archie was absolutely sensational tonight. Missing Rutter and the difference that makes in the centre of the pitch. I'd have loved to have seen Rutter in that game. So I'm not saying it's going to be a different game, but I just think he offers so much. He'd have been so much fun tonight.
Well, certainly considering it's fine. Certainly considering one of my only negatives, and I don't want to get into this now because I think we should properly pay tribute to the performance. But certainly, Mr. Piroe calls me
agenda.
We'll discuss this in a bit. But yeah, certainly when you consider the players that were out, absolutely phenomenal. I think this is when they talk about the FA Cup being devalued. I would have loved this game to have been at the weekend with a week's break either side.
Yeah, I agree.
For me, that is what it should be, because I was buzzing for the game, but there was a voice in the back of my head that's going, "You're playing Huddersfield at 12:30 on Saturday afternoon."
Yeah,
and when a player, there's a couple of times where Archie pulled up, and you're thinking, "Oh no," someone gets a rough challenge, you're thinking, "Oh please," there was a moment where some of them got a kick to the ribs from Gallagher, and you're like, "Oh," it's just
including this game, Browney. We've got 4 games in 10 days.
Yeah,
you're absolutely. You couldn't be more spot on, because the players are thinking it, the management are thinking it, the fans are feeling it, and you stick a massive tie. 5th round of an FA Cup's a big thing. You stick it in midweek because it's just not that valuable. That's the truth. You're absolutely right. That's 3 o'clock on a Saturday. It's a different situation.
Yeah.
You're playing under different circumstances. Chelsea, they've not got anything else to play for this season. Nothing to play for now.
No.
So they wheel into this game thinking, well, if we lose a weekend, it doesn't matter. Whereas we can't think like that. I couldn't agree more with you, mate. Couldn't agree more.
No, exactly. And I think even Farker had alluded it to in his press conference that, it'd be nice to get a few more days to concentrate on this game as well and really give it a go. And, some may look at it a bit of a missed opportunity with Chelsea, the state they're in, and obviously the next potential tie. But like you say, those moments of quality and class, I mean, it's just hard, isn't it, to go against that. Let's go back to the start then. Let's have a look at the starting lineup. Obviously, big changes that we thought. We saw Dan James and Anthony come in on the wings. Archie moved from right back into the middle. Connor Roberts has gone back. Liam Cooper, start for Liam Cooper, who we've not seen for quite a while. And then Matteo Joseph up front. Let's talk about Joseph, because for me, this is the guy who needs to come in when Bamford's out to keep that way of how we play, that pressing, that positivity. I feel that's what we need. And the finishers were fantastic tonight, and just everything about him, the way he's physical, he's got a touch of class, he's clever. I thought it was a real coming-of-age performance for Joseph. 2 goals, his first 2 goals for the club, to do it against a Premier League team. Nearly had a third as well where that ball came over. He wasn't quite expecting the defender to miss it completely. But, I mean, a phenomenal performance from Joseph. He's put himself right in the picture, though, hasn't he, Jason, now?
I thought it were excellent, mate. I thought it were absolutely excellent. He's very good in the air. Very, very deceptively good in the air. That finish was very old school kind of centre forward style kind of header, peeling off on the back post, playing it back across from where the ball came from. Very much what Harry Kane would do. That kind of esque of predatory awareness. I thought the finish for the first was really good as well. Like, it'd have been very easy for him to fluff his lines or try to be too delicate. He just lashed it home with the confidence of a striker that knows he's going to score. And what most impressed me the most about him today was the way that he was using his body and holding the ball up. After he scored the second, there was a moment where he kind of spun Caicedo in the midfield, turned away to his left and played a beautiful ball behind the fullback to Piroe. I thought it was excellent, mate. And for me, I mean, I know Neil said further up that Joseph should start more. We got to, for me, there's no question that if he's fit, Pat starts. With the way that this team functions and the way that Pat's played himself back into form, I think if he's fit, he starts. But I couldn't agree more with you, mate, that if he's not, Joseph comes in and Rutter plays the 10. That's it. Yeah. I think that it's as simple as that. We've seen enough from Joseph now to know that he's ready to play more minutes and he can fill in as a second. I was really, really impressed with him today. Really, really impressed. I love his attitude as well, his desire. He doesn't get across the pitch enough to cover the ground like Pat does in terms of the press, but he still does it better than Piroe does, playing the 9. So, yeah, for me, it's an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that, mate. The next man who he was man of the match to Lee Dixon. There was a moment in the first half early on where he kind of slipped and he got caught on the ball. And it was like, oh, okay, this is the level I need to be at. It was about probably within the first 5 or 10 minutes. And then he just absolutely, stole a show for me, Archie Gray. All the hype around him, and obviously there was a lot of talk before the game about, Eddie Gray and this legacy and, all this kind of hype around him. And he's worth every drop of that hype because he's just absolutely sensational. Some of the twists and turns, the dribbling, getting away from players, and he's not played in central midfield that much this season, but he just moves into it and it's effortless. And it's just, his ceiling is, God, it's scary to think how good he's going to be in 5 years.
Mate,
barring injuries or something stupid, it's just it's scary.
It was sensational today. For me, it was his best performance of the season. And that's playing against the Premier League side, against, super talented players in that midfield, a World Cup winner in Enzo Fernandez. It was absolutely sensational. And he didn't look out of place at all. It looked like it was what he was born to do. It was just effortlessly, playing around the pitch. And yeah, you're right. Like he slips on the edge of the box in the second half and kind of picks himself back up and jinks away from 2 players, and he's gone. And he's like,
that was crazy.
Unbelievable.
That was
unbelievable. I was like, oh, Archie, no.
Yeah.
And it were gone. He'd done it.
Yeah.
But it's his decision making, and he doesn't bang off the back of doing something great and then just try and constantly do it. He goes back to his normal game. He sprays the passes left and right. His decision making is just excellent. His ceiling is literally off the charts. He's got so much potential. I don't know if there's anything more I can say about him. I mean,
he's really getting the attention, though, isn't he? Now it's like national attention he's getting now, isn't he? Obviously, the Gray dynasty link obviously gets a lot of attention in of itself, but when he's that good, he's playing on the TV, and it's just like everybody's becoming aware of this kid. And we better damn hope we go up, because surely there's going to be offers from everywhere in the summer if we don't go up.
There will be anyway, I think. Truthfully, I think there will be regardless. He's going to turn 18 in a couple of weeks. He's got so much time on his hands. I mean, it says so much about what Daniel Barker thinks about him that, we can be in a bit of a position where we've got a lot of games coming up and we go away to Chelsea, tough place to go, full of quality players. And he has an opportunity to rest Archie Gray from playing right back, which he takes him out of right back and gives Connor Roberts a game, but he doesn't think of dropping Archie. Archie's his main man. He's playing him. You know what I mean? He's playing him in alongside Ethan Ampadu, who I thought was excellent as well tonight. What more can you say about him, mate? What more can you say about him? I think we've got another couple of years of Archie, regardless of the division that we're in, because I think he'll want to give us next season anyway, and I think the club will be in a position to be able to reject any offers. But it depends. It depends on how silly the offer is. There'll be some clubs at Liverpool.
Some will be thinking Bellingham, though, won't there? There will definitely be some clubs going, okay, this guy could be another Bellingham. We need to get in there early and pay an excessive fee, or what might seem excessive now, but in a few years will look a pittance for how good he could potentially be.
Well, Archie's now eclipsed more minutes than Bellingham in the Championship at this age, at 17. He's second only to Ryan Sessegnon, who at the time of him playing for Fulham, he came into the team at 16, did Sessegnon. Yeah. That's why he played so many minutes before him turning 18. And Sessegnon was deemed to be one of the most prestigious talents outside the Premier League when he first came through at Fulham. So, he's in that kind of company as being arguably one of the best ever products that we've seen in the Championship. I don't want to it's not about getting ahead of ourselves. That's the kind of levels that he's displaying. He's not just turned up and played against Coventry tonight. He's turned up and played against Chelsea. League
playing against £200 million midfielders, and he had the better game.
Yeah, it was sensational. He was absolutely faultless, mate. Yeah. So what can you say?
Digley, I only managed to listen to half of a watch along. So did we play well overall? Yeah, Digley, it was a superb performance. It absolutely warranted the Leeds win for me. We were phenomenal. Really proud of the boys tonight, definitely. Shout out to his midfield cohort as well, Ampadu, who I thought, especially first half, was absolutely sensational. He looked Premier League class. The way he was picking up balls. I mean, there was times when he's just the desire alone. He beat Mudryk to a couple of loose balls. And you're thinking, Mudryk's one of the fastest players. But
he's rapid in it, by the way.
Yeah. But Ampadu was like, no, I'm getting there, and would get it and win it. His distribution was fantastic. His position, he's mopping things up. He's connecting the play. I thought Ampadu was absolutely fantastic. And, it's a position he's not been playing in for a few weeks as well, but he's come back in and just unbelievable.
He's equally adept in both, isn't he?
Yeah.
There were a moment when ball went over the top of Connor Roberts and Mudryk was speeding away, and Connor Roberts is not particularly slow, but it literally looked like he was stuck in mud, and Mudryk had just gone in the second half. Yeah, he's quick. He's very, very quick.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he was always a threat, but he's such a loose player, though, isn't he? Some of the decision making is appalling, isn't it? You can see he's got raw talent, but
very raw.
Honestly, some of the things you go, mate, why did you do that? You could have absolutely killed us there. But it's just wild. A lot of Chelsea's like that, to be fair. On the wing, Jadon Anthony, Dan James, but Anthony in particular for me grew and grew into the game. I think he's one of those players that does that. He kind of needs time to grow into the game. A little bit hesitant at moments in the first half, but second half superb. The cross for Joseph second just seemed to kind of grow in stature, size, and confidence through the game. Really good performance from Anthony.
I would argue that it was Anthony's best performance in a Leeds shirt.
Yeah,
if I'm honest.
Yeah, probably would.
I know he's had a couple of moments when he's come off the bench, but I would argue it's probably his best performance. I thought it was very good. I thought he troubled Gusto all night, and Gusto then ended up getting subbed, and they brought Gilchrist over to that side. He jinked him well. He had a couple of half chances. His cross, as you say, for Joseph was spot on. It was a fantastic delivery. The only thing that I don't like about Jayden Anthony in comparison to Cree being over there is the defensive work. I think he's a bit like, I'll jog. And when you've got Junior down that side as well, it creates a real problem.
Cooper.
Cooper, and then Anthony in front. It creates as a real problem. You know what? I said about Cooper in messages during the game. I actually didn't think he had a bad game, really. I thought his distribution was fine. Yeah. He comes in fine as a fourth or fifth choice centre-back. I ain't got a... Like, for me, if we were in the Championship again, I ain't got a problem with Cooper staying around and being a fourth choice centre-back. Not at all. I think at this level he's absolutely fine. I think you'll see him go on and play for another 2 or 3 seasons in the Championship and probably be in a team that push for the playoffs. I think he's in and around that level. I thought he was okay tonight, considering again what he was dealing with in and around him. But yeah, getting back to your point, Jayden Anthony, I thought it was great. I could see the headlines popping up when he was taking a couple of them shots from the edge of the box, because he does like them and he's good at them. But it weren't to be tonight, but he delivered it on an absolute dime to Joseph.
Yeah, he's just on that level below Somerville, isn't he? And Nonto and those kind of boys. He's just on that below level, isn't he? But it's a great option to have, and I think it was the perfect time to use him really and get 90 minutes in his legs. Absolutely.
I think he's very different to the others. I don't think he's particularly quick, and he's got 0 left foot. So he's left with just being an inverted forward. He needs to be a little bit further forward than the other one. The others can come from deep and drive at defenders. Jayden Anthony can't do that. He almost needs to start with the ball 10 or 15 yards further up the pitch, which then means that it kind of limits what he can do in being effective. There were a few times today where he cut inside and Firpo were getting outside him. That was quite nice. And he was really effective in them areas. And I think we've got better at that since Firpo's come into the team and Byram has dropped out. We've got that overlap, so it kind of makes sense for that Anthony will be a bit more effective. But yeah, I think as a impact sub, I think he offers us something different. But week in, week out, I won't want to see him start over the other 3 personally.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. On the other side, Dan James, I've seen a few people online saying, "Oh, there's the Dan James we know a little bit from tonight in terms of bit loose and final product." But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it obviously, he's playing Chelsea. It's a different animal, isn't it, to play? But I mean, I didn't think he was particularly poor or anything like that. I think he stretched them quite a few times, and his pressing first half, especially. I mean, he put the shake up Chelsea a bit at the start. I mean, he would down the neck of the defenders and the goalkeeper time and time again, and it really kind of set that pressing tone, I felt, and really unnerved Chelsea actually a little bit, especially at the start of the game.
I think that's really harsh. I think sometimes a player is as a product of the players that are around him too. And I think Dan James, you see the best of Dan James when he's got Rutter jinking in and around him. It opens up space for Dan James. Pat works really, really well off Dan James, I think, as well. His movement's very clever. Dan's able to find balls in, similar to the one that Anthony did with Joseph, but there didn't seem to be many opportunities the other way. I think it's harsh. He's also been out of the team at starting for a few weeks, and week in, week out, Dan James is going to look far more effective against Championship outfits than he does Premier League ones.
We've said that all along, haven't we? We've not said, oh, he's playing well and scoring goals. No, we've absolutely not said that. We've definitely not said that. And we'll wait and see.
I mean, for all we know, Nonto could have started the game and been just as effective or not effective. Same for Cree. It's a step up. Is this? They're a good side. Regardless of the problems that they're going through, they've still got bags of talent in that team. And they're still, even if they are a mid-table Premier League team now, they're still a Premier League mid-table team, which is not what we are right now. So, we more than competed. And, Dan James having a bit of a less effective game against Premier League opposition is not, we shouldn't be stunned by that, is I guess what I'm saying.
No. Meslier, should he do better for that first goal? Do you think I was kind of, come on, through the legs, Meslier? It looks, come on. But apart from that, I thought it was fine.
I think it's a tough one, mate. I think low and hard. It's gone through his legs. It's a bit unfortunate. He'll be a bit sick, I think, about it. But I also think it's just one of them things that happens. You see them kind of goals all the time. He should do better. But I'm not gonna go to town on him about it.
No.
He saved us on Friday. Let's put it that way. So I'm not going to be quick to jump on him about one mistake. I thought the rest of what he was doing, he was under a lot of pressure tonight with the press. I thought his distribution was pretty good. And there were one I really liked where we were controlling the game in the second half and he was under a lot of pressure. Cooper, I think Cooper headed it back to him. He was under a bit of pressure and he threw it down quickly and arced a pass straight out to Connor Roberts. And I really liked it. It showed a bit of confidence. So, I'm not going to be too harsh on him tonight.
No. I think a lovely little Cruyff turn, wasn't he, in the box as well when he was getting the player down his neck. It was one of those moments, and he killed it. To be fair to him, Rodon pretty solid. Roberts solid. Firpo was doing Firpo things. Great overlapping defensively. He's just wild player to watch. You just don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what he's going to get. The only thing I would question is a bit of his delivery a couple of times. There were a couple of times where it seemed to be head down and hitting it into the defender rather than really trying to pick out someone. It was almost like, wow, I've got to this position, just smash it in. Do you know what I mean? Rather than picking it out.
I've said it before. I was speaking to Paco, my scouting friend, throughout the game, and I would have loved to have known what Bielsa thought of him and what he said about signing him. And I'd love to have just understood, because he must have rubber stamped that signing. And
we need to see the scouting report.
I'd love to have seen it. I'd love to have seen it because, without a doubt, he offers us something going forward, especially at this level that we didn't have with Byram. But I just sound like a broken record. But defensively, he's just so bad.
Yeah,
it's just. I mean, the yellow card that he got today, and he's just he's just a train wreck.
Yeah. It's just what it is. It is what it is, isn't it? Really, to be honest. Probably a point we might contest is the performance of Joel Piroe, and I'm really interested to see what people in the comments think about this because I was pulling my hair out watching this guy tonight. I thought he was easily our worst player, and was undermining our performance at times. The ball's going into him in that number 10 position. And the amount of times he lost the ball and he just didn't get up to the speed of the game at any point. I mean, there was a point, when he had it in the first half, a couple of times he got tackled because he's dawdling on the ball. And then he does it again and again and again. You're like, mate, can you not get up to the speed of this game or at least hold possession, pass it back if you have to? He offered nothing creatively, absolutely nothing going forward. Broke moves up countless times. The second goal, he lost the ball because he was just hanging on to it. They broke and scored. It does not work in this number 10. I have sympathy with him because I think, in the regard that I think his confidence has massively dropped. I do think that. I think he was playing better in the 10 role before he got dropped out of it. And since he's come back, I just don't see the same player even from then. But for me, it was incredibly frustrating to work. I'm really worried. And I would like to see this guy dropped. If Bamford is injured, Rutter's the number 10 and Joseph is the centre forward for me.
It's not that I disagree with you, because I completely agree with you. It's that I have defended, because he's not a 10. He's just not a 10. I am fully backing Daniel Farke, but he's wrong. He's just wrong with his analysis of this situation with Piroe. Joel Piroe is a clinical, composed, calm finisher. He needs to be put in on goal as many times as possible, and you want the chances to fall to him in and around the 6-yard box, 10 yards out, something like that. Joel Piroe's your man. If you want a spot kick taken, he's your man. He's clinical. He's good on both feet. But the facts is we're playing him in different roles. Even as a 9, we're playing him in a role that he doesn't suit. It's as simple as that. It was the wrong signing. He's just the wrong player for a 9 or a 10 role. He'd almost, and people are going to think I'm mental when I say this, he would almost be better out wide than as a 10, because at least if he's out wide, he's usually facing up one player. He's not in tight spots in areas where you need to be quick and jinky. He's not that kind of player. He played out wide for Swansea on the right. So I have a hard time criticising him when I just don't think he's got the abilities to play. It's like playing Nonto at centre-back and then having an hard time that Nonto's not playing well at centre-back. Yeah, he's not a centre-back. You know what I mean?
For me, he's only playing because of the fee. At this point,
I think you're probably right.
I think that it's that thing of, look, we paid a lot of money for him. We can't not play him. It's easier to not play Joseph, who, was a cheap buy. Neil, I thought Piroe was good before he signed for Leeds, but I've been disappointed. Yeah,
he needs to play with another striker, mate.
Yeah, I know, and we it's one of those things in the back of his minds. We knew early on we could see signs of this happening.
Yeah, we could.
It wasn't quite clicking. I mean, we did a debate showing on him in, I think, the start of January. About whether this is going to work, and yeah, it's dead frustrating. Do you think there's a temptation? I mean, we saw Somerville in the number 10. If Rutter's not fit for Saturday, or potentially going forward, is that something you'd be open to seeing Somerville in the number 10?
I don't like it. We've played with Somerville there before. I think he moves in straight lines too much to Somerville. He likes that space that you get out on the wings where you can run directly at somebody. I find that, and we saw it a little bit tonight, there were a couple of moments where he was just head down and he lost the ball, ran out of play. Don't get me wrong, he'll be able to do a job there, but for me, I'd much prefer him out there. If we're gonna come up with an alternative, I would play Nonto there out of the 3. I'd play James on the right, Somerville on the left, and Nonto in the 10. I'd be even more tempted to play Pat there and play Joseph up front, because Pat is actually quite intelligent. He uses his body well. He turns all his little 5-yard passes in between lines and in gaps. He's quite smart. Pat used to play out wide for Middlesbrough. He's not just, we know he's not an out-and-out clinical goal scorer in Pat. So I'd be more like, I'd like that more. He won't do that, by the way. It will be either Somerville or Piroe, I would imagine. I think it'll be one of the two. I would imagine that going into the weekend, if Rutter's not fit, it will be what we saw tonight. I think it'll start with Piroe and Joseph, or Piroe and Pat.
Yeah, it's one of them positions that, even if we think if we stay in this league, we've got to fill it up, haven't we? We've got to get a proper 10. I think whether we stay up.
100%. Really. Just to come to Arthur's point there at the bottom that's popped up, like Piroe has. If Lee Chapman was asked to play in this side, he wouldn't suit either. Yeah, because the system suits a particular striker. Yeah. So the point isn't that Piroe's a bad player; it's that he just doesn't fit the system. It's as simple as that. Like, he could easily go into several other systems in this division and look like the 20-25 goal a season striker that he wore at Swansea. It just doesn't suit this system. And it's unfortunate. I really like him. I love watching him finish. If ever you see clips through this season, some of his goals, his finishes are really. We haven't seen a striker like that for years, years and years.
Even that's going a little bit though, Jason. I mean, look at his chances against Leicester. I mean, he even seemed. This is what I mean about the confidence thing. We're not even getting that anymore now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely think there's a certain, he's not playing week in, week out. He's not confident. He knows that his position's up for threat, up for debate. And you're absolutely right. He's not been hitting the target or scoring in the way that he would have done earlier on in the season. I think of the chance against Leicester with his right foot. I think he gets that at least on target earlier on in the season. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, John. Yeah, Piroe looked well off the pace. Very poor showing. Michael, what's been said about Piroe was what was said about Rodrigo. Yeah, I know you were on, I think, our last stream, weren't you, Michael? And you made the same point then as well. And yeah, I get it. I don't know. I'm
just going to say on that, Brownie, the big difference between the two is that Rodrigo was an out-and-out attacker and Bielsa was playing him as an 8. He wasn't just playing him like in trying to find a different role and system for him. I hear his point, but it's not quite the same because Piroe is a striker and he's not able to do the role that Daniel Farke wants him to do in the striker role. or in the 10 role. So where do you play him? Rodrigo's was very different. Bielsa played him as an out-and-out 8. He played him alongside Click. So, yeah, I don't think it's the same, personally.
No. Neil, if he doesn't fit the system, then Farke has to sort out or sell. It will be interesting to see what they do with Piroe at the end of the season, won't it? I mean, there's a technically gifted player there. I absolutely believe it, but whether there's a future with Leeds, I'm not sure on this style of play. Couple of post-match comments in, waiting from Farke, but Pochettino is saying credit to Leeds, doing great at the top of the Championship. I mean, we've given them a right scare tonight, haven't we, Jason? I mean, they've had a pretty awful time of it. They've been lambasted left, right, and centre. I thought they were terrible, Chelsea. I'll be honest with you. I thought apart from a few bits of quality for the goal, I thought they were absolutely lousy, Chelsea. Just how timid they were in that second half. I mean, we were bossing it. It was crazy. I just couldn't believe it.
The quality in the 3 goals was excellent. In the individual moments of the 3 goals, I thought were really, really nice goals. Apart from that, you're absolutely spot on, mate. They were so passive, so slow, so timid. Yeah. Across the back line, I mean, nobody with any sort of technical ability, so rigid. I thought Gilchrist played well at left back, the young lad. I thought he had a good game. I thought Conor Gallagher came on and played quite well. He puts himself about and he's an horrible SOB. Yeah. There were a couple of half performances, but they don't look like they've got any style of play to me. They look like they're a set of individual players that have got some decent ability that are capable of cooking up odd moments, but the rest of the time they don't really have that much instruction. I think it's going to go real south under Poch. I've not watched them that much this season, on and off a match of the day and obviously tonight. I just don't see how it works out. But I also have an air of sympathy for Poch because I think the recruitment's just all wrong. It's just all wrong. They've just gone out and bought stupidly, no thought process. In many ways, they'd have been better building the team round an Ethan Ampadu, who they sold for 7 million instead of spending 80 million quid on a player that can do exactly the same thing. They've got no experience in that team to speak of, really. Thiago Silva's out at the moment. I mean, their average age is what, 21, 22, I think it is. It's crazy. And you can't, unless the talent is extremely exceptional, a la, class of 92 or something like that, you're not going to win consistently with that team. You think back to the Aston Villa game, they were excellent away at Villa Park in the round before. But then the week after, they'll go and lose to whoever. I saw them against Luton at Kenilworth Road earlier on this season. They were 3-0 up, and they were lucky to end up winning the game in the end. It ended up finishing 3-2, and Luton were paggering them. And like that's not a top 4 team. You know what I mean? So no, it's an interesting one, mate. Real interesting one. But for me, I think the credit all goes to our boys tonight. They equipped themselves really, really well. And on a different day, we win the game.
Yeah, was there a part of you that was a bit where they did kind of rip through us, and I was like getting flashbacks to the Premier League life and how easy it is to concede out of nothing, and we saw that countless times, and you kind of go, ooh, I wonder what it's going to be like if we do get back into the Premier League when you remember you're not winning week in, week out. Kind of leads into this point here from Neil. Do you guys think that with this current squad, would Leeds survive in the Premier League, or do we need more quality players? I think we definitely need more quality players. There's rumours of £100 million transfer budget with or without sales. I think there's certain areas that absolutely need to be improved upon. I think left back is an obvious choice. You would want more options, central defence. I think, striker potentially as well. Although, I mean, I would be curious to see Matteo Joseph's development. I really would. I would, if he gets a run of games or something. I don't know how I don't think you can go into a Premier League season and say, right, Matteo, you're our guy to start. You can't do that. It would be an interesting experiment. I mean, you've seen like the likes of Somerville who have gotten up to the level. Whether he'll get that opportunity, I'm not sure. I would prefer to see us go out and get something else. For you, I mean, what do you think with Neil's question there?
I think it's a great question. I mean, we spoke about it the other day, and I said I thought the team would look very, very different would it be in the Premier League? Because I'm pretty sure the 49ers would invest properly. We've shown we're being pretty shrewd with recruitment, and I believe that we'd understand what it would take to step up, and we could put players in and around the likes of Ampadu, Gray, some of our better players, Somerville, Rutter. These players will then develop even more with better players around them. We had a lot of our first team out tonight. What were it? 5 changes, I think, to our main starting 11. Gruev, Kamara, Ampadu back into the back line, because I would argue that Cooper obviously is nowhere near a Premier League centre-back now. Thurple would be an obvious replacement. I would argue that I like what I've seen from Connor Robertson. I like him as a player, but I would argue that if we get promoted, we'll see a better full-back starting week in, week out at right-back. I would argue, I said this to you the other week, £40 million of our budget needs to go straight into a number 9. Whoever that might be, to give you a name off the top of my head, an Amando Breuer from Chelsea, who's on loan at Fulham now, somebody of that kind of ilk that you're going to say, right, you're my guy for 5 years. We're going to build you up. We're going to make you the Premier League player that you think you are. Go and invest in somebody like that to really build your team around. An out-and-out 10. For me, 5 or 6 first team starting 11 players is what we would need. I would include Joe Rodon in that. I think Rodon could come in and play alongside another, maybe even Pascal in defence. But I would say 5 or 6 starting 11 signings, plus a couple for the bench to give more proper Premier League depth. With the likes of Matteo Joseph still getting minutes, he's got a long way to go here, but he showed that he's got the capability to have the potential to be able to be that level of player.
Yeah, it's just a different game, isn't it, in the Premier League as well? It's so difficult, and you just
can't make mistakes, mate.
No,
you cannot make mistakes.
No, you can't. You just don't want to go up and experience what Burnley and Sheffield United have experienced this year, because that's dreadful. Nobody wants that. That would be absolutely the worst thing to go and do that. And hopefully Leeds look at them as examples of what not to do, really. But we'll wait and see.
This team would be, right now, if this team was in the Premier League, this team would probably be 16th or 17th.
Yeah,
it would probably be just enough, because the bottom 3 are terrible. Luton are giving it everything that they've got. They are playing so far beyond their capabilities to just be 18th right now, because they are a mid-table Championship team. What Rob Edwards has done, he's done a sensational job, and then he's rolled in the likes of Andros Townsend and Ross Barkley for that bit of quality. And the fact that they're even still in with a shout of staying up is sensational for me. But then you think of the teams above that: Forest, Everton, and Brentford. Forest, Everton, and Brentford are the 3 teams that I kind of put us in and around. I've never been that blown away by Brentford. Never. And people are like, oh, Jay, come on, they did great in the first couple of seasons in the Premier League. I've never watched them and been like, they're a really good team then. No. I don't like Thomas Frank, but I've never particularly looked at them and think, hey, they're a really good team. They've got Ivan Toney, who's an out-and-out top Premier League goal scorer. He could go into any team in the Premier League and score goals regularly. He's a bit of a tit. I don't like him, but he is a predator goal scorer. You take him out and you find they are where they are now, because that's what they are. They're just a 15th, 16th place. But anyway, it's not about Brentford. We would be in and around that area of the table with this team right now, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think this is a team, obviously, we've not been conceding goals, etc. And then you come up against Premier League quality and it's like 3 goals before you even blink against a team that's not in form particularly. Martin, perfect way to lose. Hope Leicester get distracted and fatigued. Let's win the league. Anthony and Joseph showed up. The Leicester thing, as Leicester have obviously got through, it's another game on the calendar for them. Do you think that'll have any impact on them kind of going for the title? It's one of those. It's exciting, isn't it, going into a quarter-final of an FA Cup? I'd have been absolutely buzzing if we'd have got through. But it's quite demanding, isn't it? At the same breath, it does take its toll.
All depends on the injuries, doesn't it?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like if you play an extra game that ordinarily you wouldn't have because you would have got knocked out earlier in the cup, and then a challenge comes in and a Fatuhu or Wout Fess or whoever gets a career-ending injury. That's a bit dramatic. Season-ending injury. Then it can have a massive effect. Who says that they don't go to Chelsea and get pumped? Middlesbrough lost 7-0 at Chelsea, by the way, in the League Cup. Sorry, they lost 1-0 at the Riverside, and then lost 7-0 at Stamford Bridge. So Chelsea have got the capabilities to pick teams open, especially teams that have got less inferior players than them. So who knows? Who knows what that will do for Leicester? I would say if Leicester get through another round and they're in the semi-finals, I would imagine that it'll be a boost rather than a negative. Right now, I'm not really sure what it means. It's just another game for them and one more that we don't have to think about. That's the way that I'm kind of looking at it right now.
Yeah. Arthur, Liverpool versus Man United as well. Cracking quarter final. That is it at Liverpool? Is that going to be at Liverpool then? I think is it? Or
I didn't see the draw, to be honest.
Let me have a look.
I agree with Gail's point there about
Man United. Yeah.
At Old Trafford. Leicester and Southampton are better than the bottom three. I agree. Yeah. I agree completely. I think this season's bottom three in the Premier League is the worst you will likely ever see. And I think the top three of the Championship is the strongest you'll ever see. Said that the other week. You will very, very rarely again in the future ever see a top three in the Championship as strong as these three. Because Leicester and Southampton were established, like proper, fully established Premier League teams. I mean, Leicester were Premier League champions only a few years ago. You know, so to have that kind of strength in this division, it's just nuts. Because usually you see at least that one or two of the teams that got promoted come straight back down. Norwich, West Brom, whoever. Fulham did it for years, up and down, up and down, up and down. Like it's so unusual to see three really strong Premier League teams come down like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian asks here, very mature performance from Archie Gray. Is he qualified for England or Scotland? Well, he's been playing for England youth, hasn't he?
He can play for both, but he's going to play for England, isn't
he? I think he's going to be. He certainly
is. He were born in Durham, and obviously he's a Leeds boy, so
yeah,
I would imagine.
Arthur Rutter, Kamara Greer back Saturday. Listen, we're not going to talk about Saturday too much on this stream because we'll be back tomorrow for Huddersfield Town versus Leeds United match preview, and we're going to be outnumbered on that one, Jason.
Yeah, you all have to come.
We need you all there.
We need you all there because we're going to have 3 Town fans on the stream against me and Browney. So we need as much ridicule for them, as much defense for us. Don't leave us hanging tomorrow. It should be a good stream, though. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, get your boxing gloves ready for that one, Jason. It's going to be fireworks, I think. So, yeah, we certainly need you there. John, thanks for comment, mate. We performed well and we can now concentrate on getting back into the Premier League where we belong. Yeah, absolutely. When you watched us tonight, Jason, I mean, we deserve to be at that top table, don't we? I think just as a club and I mean, the fans, again, so loud and what it means. It's just got to happen, hasn't it, Jason? Please tell me it's going to happen.
It's definitely, we said it when we were in the run before and getting promoted, under Bielsa, that we deserve to be in the Premier League and all this, and the Premier League needs us and all this kind of, like, the facts are you have to earn deserving to be in the Premier League. And last season we didn't deserve to be in the Premier League, but as a fan base and as a club, we absolutely should be in the Premier League, and we bring so much to the top table. We bring a vociferous fan base, the second biggest. Well, I think we are the biggest city in the country that have only got one team within the city. And the Premier League is better for having us there, without a shadow of a doubt. It is. And fingers crossed we can do it. I think we can do it, mate. I think we're perfectly positioned. Now the cup's out of the way, we've got 12 big cup finals of our own now to concentrate on, and I fully back Daniel Farke to bring it home. I really do.
Yeah, indeed. Alison, what time are you on? Yeah, tomorrow we're looking for about an 8 o'clock, 8:15 start, something around then if everyone's schedules kind of link up. Yeah, this is the point that Jason's made. 3 Town fans is that the Huddersfield fan base.
There's going to be nobody from Town watching because they're all going to be on the stream. So, yeah, you guys will have it to yourselves. Honestly, don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Dick, thanks for coming, mate. Nothing but pride for the lads tonight. With Rutter in the side, we win that game.
I agree with him. I agree with that.
No, it would have been beautiful to see Rutter in that game tonight. I'm not going to lie, Rutter at his best. Are you worried about the fatigue then in certain players' legs? Ampadu, Rodon, or do you think, look, what is it, three days to recover, a couple of days to recover?
You know what, Brownie? We've said this constantly this season, and every time we've said it, they've come out on the next game and been brilliant. After the Plymouth game where we got taken to extra time, the rain, the travel, we came out a few days later and played brilliantly. The fact is the players want to play football. They want to play games. They don't want to train, So for me, and from everything that I hear, and I do like to, I'm involved in the game. I like to hear what the players think. And whenever I've spoken to any footballer with regards to this kind of topic, they just want to play games. They're just happy playing games. So injuries are one thing. When they pile up, that's a problem. So the likes of Rutter potentially being out, that could be an issue. But in terms of fatigue, I don't think it's a massive drama. I really don't. We spend so much time in possession of the ball too. It's not like we're a team that are getting pulled around all over the place for 90 minutes. The likes of Ampadu, Gray, I think they've got it in the tank. Rodon, they've honestly got it in the tank. And we've got a good squad too. So, if there is injuries, we have to then rely on some of these players to come in and do the business. If Somerville is carrying a knock and can only do 30, 35 minutes, Jadon Anthony needs to keep on playing like that. Dan James can come in for Nonto. The big miss is Gio. Other than Joe Rodon, who I do think is out and out the most essential player that we've got in this team that I don't want to see us miss. I think Gio's second. He's key to so much going forward. It makes Somerville better. It makes Nonto better. It makes Dan James better. It makes Pat Bamford better. And it makes Yol Piroe better too. It makes them all better. So, he's the one that... Huddersfield will get such an easier day of it if Gio's not fit on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, it's a crazy set of fixtures coming up when you look at it. We've got Saturday, Huddersfield, Tuesday, Stoke, and then 3 days later. I mean, why on God's earth they picked us to be on the Friday after we're playing Tuesday? I mean, it's just a piss take. Isn't it? It's just an absolute piss take. It's like they're single-handedly trying to derail our bloody promotion hunt here. It's a nightmare.
We had this last time.
I'm just like, freaking hell, man. It's just... It's wild. It's absolutely wild. I mean, after the Sheffield game, do we at least get a break then? We've got, I think it's about 9 days to recover then ahead of the Millwall. And it's just get through it time, isn't it? It's just get through it, put on the performance as much as possible. Neil says Sky. Well, that's what it is, isn't it? But, it's just get your head down, crack on and try and pick up as many points as possible. We should beat all those teams on paper. But we've got to do it for real.
Two of them away though on both Yorkshire derbies. I think I personally think that Saturday is going to be the trickiest of the three. Because they're going to be up for it. They've been waiting all year for this game, all season, probably since the first game. And they're on a bit of form as well. New manager. I think Saturday could be tricky, especially if we don't score early. I think if we can get an early goal, I think we could probably score 2 or 3. We're by far the better team, but I do see it being a bit of a banana skin. Stoke at home on the Tuesday, not bothered. They're terrible. I know we lost to them earlier on in the season, but I just don't think it matters. It's not the same. Sheffield Wednesday found a bit of form as well. Again, Yorkshire derby at Hillsborough. Banana skin again. I know.
Don't like it.
We need to be aiming for 7 points as an absolute minimum. 9 points, really, preferably, would be what we need. We just need to win every game, don't we?
We do, just if you could just do that, lads. 12 games, please. Easy. Sure.
I'm dreading Saturday. I mean, we'll talk about it tomorrow, I know, in more detail, but I dreaded it before the first game, and we pretty much knew we were going to win. I hate it. It's literally my least favourite game that we can possibly have ever. I hate it because they don't. It never feels like a win. Even when we take 3 points, it's just a case of, we should have done that. And it's almost a relief rather than a success. So, I'm looking forward to just getting out of the way, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. Roll on Saturday evening. Some comments from Farker now. Disappointed to lose tonight. Proud of the performance, though. Felt they were close to victory. Gelhardt out due to a back spasm. Poor lad. He always seems to get an injury just when an opportunity might be coming his way. Rutter and Gruev, Somerville and Bamford did not train on Monday. Hopes to have a stronger squad than tonight to face Huddersfield Town. Says no momentum lost by tonight's defeat. Message to the players was full of praise. I
agree with that.
Unbeaten run is over, Jason, but context is everything.
The league as well is where the unbeaten run's important in the nicest possible way. It just don't matter. And we're still 9 straight wins in the league, I think it is. Is that right?
Yeah.
Going into 10th straight win on Saturday. There's absolutely no momentum lost from that result. The boys won't feel like they've lost tonight, I don't think. I think they'll be very complimentary of each other. They'll see this as a success. And they will be absolutely determined as ever to go and win on Saturday. I absolutely know that. Whether I'm wrong and fatigue catches up with them, or more importantly, the injuries might, that's a different question. But I'm still confident. I'm still confident that we can go and win that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Will we ever make it to a quarter-final again in an FA Cup, Jason, in our future? Will we see the day? Getting closer. Maybe not closer, but we're kind of hopefully,
in my lifetime, I'd like to hope that we might see.
Yeah, I hope
we might
so.
see a quarter-final.
Christ.
I mean,
final, please.
The season that we finished 9th under Bielsa, we should have gone deep that season, and then we ended up getting knocked out by Crawley. So who knows, mate?
Well, that's what you want, really, isn't it? If you're comfortable in Premier League and just literally, if you're safe by February, just hammer it.
Yeah.
Best 11 and just go for it.
That's it. I mean, the problem is in the Premier League, unless you are top 7, you're probably not safe in the Premier League until March.
Yeah.
So you've always kind of got that risk. I remember the season that we finished 9th. It was literally April, and I was still like, "Oh, they're only 10 points behind. Like we could still go down." So I don't know if you can ever take your eye off the ball from that. But the value of the cups has been so diminished, and the importance of being in the Premier League has been heightened so much that it does make it such a risk. But I think we will. I think we will, mate. To answer your question, one day. One
day we'll get there. Okay, I think we'll leave it there, guys. I want to thank everyone who's joined us in the chat tonight. Please smash a like on the video if you've not done that already. It really helps support the channel, and subscribe for more content on all our teams across West Yorkshire. Myself and Jason, we will be back tomorrow night for the Leeds United Huddersfield Town preview. We're going to need everybody there with us on that one, because we're going up against not 1, not 2, but 3 Huddersfield Town fans. So it's going to be...
Please come along and help. I'm already dreading it, to be honest. I'm kind of looking forward to it, but already dreading it. Like... They're going to be so excited. They're going to be like kids at Christmas. Oh, we're playing Leeds. I can't wait. Oh, we've got a chance. Like Michael Heffler.
Well, we're not bothered if we lose. We don't care if we lose. Yeah,
we don't care if
the result don't matter.
I genuinely had a Huddersfield fan tell me the season that we were in the when we went up, I had a Huddersfield fan tell me that they would rather themselves go down to League One if it cost Leeds going up. That's how obsessed this fan base is, and he was deadly serious. And the thing is, I think there's a lot of the fan base that had agreed with him, that would agree with him, that would take sacrifice of their own side.
Was his name Stephen Downs?
Well, maybe it was. Maybe it was reincarnated. Yeah. Honestly.
Exactly. Oh yeah, so please get on that stream tomorrow to support me and Jace. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow. I've been Stephen Brown, with me has been Jason Booker. Jason, thank you very much.
Thank you, mate.
And we'll see you then. Thank you.